On the vibrant island of Semirara in Kaluya, a remarkable transformation is taking root. Known for housing the country's largest coal reserves, the island is now the heart of a thriving initiative that champions food security, sustainable livelihood, and self-sufficiency. The Agro Model Farm by Semirara Mining and Power Corporation in partnership with the Department of Energy. Established in 2021, the Agro Model Farm aims to fill the gaps in the island's food economy and provide an alternative livelihood for island locals. Locally grown fruits and vegetables have helped reduce market prices, creating better farm-to-market opportunities and providing access to more affordable food. The Agro Model Farm proudly supports United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The farm produces diverse fruits and vegetables, providing jobs for local farmers. Another component of the farm is the 52-hectare mango farming project. Local residents are given access to free seedlings and capacity building. The farm also gives employment opportunities to seasonal workers. Mango's high demand locally and internationally makes it a valuable crop for farmers. The farm also provides additional livelihood through handicraft making when farming is compromised by climate conditions. The handicraft products are made from the island's natural resources, such as bamboo, pandan, and wood. The products are sold at the SMPC Commercial Hub, giving artisans comprehensive support from training, production, and marketing. The Agro Model Farm plays a central role in Semirara Island's community development, empowering farmers, artisans, and entrepreneurs. Together, we are sowing the seeds of sustainable progress and empowering future generations to thrive beyond the life of the mine.
Simula nang binigay ni SMPC yung tambalang, nadagdagan yung hanap buhay ko, saka yung kinikita ko sa araw-araw. Ako nga pala si Untitled, nakatira sa Sibato, Kaluya Antique. Ang trabaho ko po ay nagtatanim ng tambalang at isa rin akong mangingisda. Yung karagatan namin dito, maganda, mayaman sa isda at tamang-tama lang talagang taniman ng tambalang. Dito sa amin, marami talagang nagtatanim ng tambalang. Kaya napakinabangan namin yung binigay na tulong ng SMPC sa amin. Yung pagtatanim namin ng tambalang nakakatulong sa mga kapwa namin taga Sibato. Kaya nagkaroon sila ng panibagong pangkabuhayan dahil sa tambalang. Yung buhay ko ngayon, hindi lang sa pangingisda. Kung masamang panahon, pwede rin ako magtrabaho sa tambalang. Yung nakaraang buwan, nakahani ako ng 10 sako. Ang isang sako, nakabibinta ng 2,000. Yung tambalang na tinatanim namin, ginagawang seaweed chips na patok sa taga Semirara. Salamat sa SMPC sa tulong na ibinigay. Nadagdagan rin ang aking hanap buhay, pagsuporta sa aking pamilya, pagpaparal sa aking mga anak, saka lalong-lalo na sa pang-araw-araw na pangangailangan. Sa lahat ng mga katulad ko rin na nagtatanim ng tambalang, pursige lang ng pursige. Yung sa hindi pa nakatikim ng tambalang, subukan na nyo. Napakasarap na kainin yan. Ako si Untitled at ito ang kwentong Semirara ko.
Girly Pibetara inspired me para maging zoologist. And now, I am greatly honored na nakakatrabaho ko siya dito. I have been with SMPC for almost 4 years now. I recently passed the board exams thanks to the support of my family and friends, especially my supervisors in SMPC. I am grateful for the generosity of the company for letting me use the library hub. We were free to use the Wi-Fi and the books available dun sa library. Dun ako nag-aral para sa board exam. The advantages of being employed in SMPC includes free, high-quality education, kagaya nung sa akin. I graduated from Divine Word School of Semirara Island, Incorporated in 2012. And ngayon, enroll naman namin yung pamangkin ko sa DWSSII and yung free access sa mga utilities ng company. Another one is yung pag-empower ng SMPC sa mga babae. I was actually undecided on what to take before graduating. Then, meron akong kaibigan na nagtatrabaho sa drilling section before with Ma'am Girly Pibetara. Doon ko siya nakita. Nagkwento siya kung ano yung mga trabaho ng zoologist. Na-encourage ako na mag-take ng BS Zoology. SMPC was a great help for me last year. Na-diagnose ako ng fibroadenoma. And through the help ng company, nabawasan ng halos more than half yung nagastos ko sa operation. Working here in SMPC made me closer to my family while providing for them. Ako po si Christian Michelle De Sano sa Herodias at ito ang kwentong Semirara ko.
On the vibrant island of Semirara in Kaluya, a remarkable transformation is taking root. Known for housing the country's largest coal reserves, the island is now the heart of a thriving initiative that champions food security, sustainable livelihood, and self-sufficiency. The Agro-Model Farm by Semirara Mining and Power Corporation in partnership with the Department of Energy. Established in 2021, the Agro-Model Farm aims to fill the gaps in the island's food economy and provide an alternative livelihood for island locals. Locally grown fruits and vegetables have helped reduce market prices, creating better farm-to-market opportunities and providing access to more affordable food. The Agro-Model Farm proudly supports United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The farm produces diverse fruits and vegetables, providing jobs for local farmers. Another component of the farm is the 52-hectare mango farming project. Local residents are given access to free seedlings and capacity building. The farm also gives employment opportunities to seasonal workers. Mango's high demand locally and internationally makes it a valuable crop for farmers. The farm also provides additional livelihood through handicraft making when farming is compromised by climate conditions. The handicraft products are made from the island's natural resources, such as bamboo, pandan, and wood. The products are sold at the SMPC Commercial Hub, giving artisans comprehensive support from training, production, and marketing. The Agro-Model Farm plays a central role in Semirara Island's community development, empowering farmers, artisans, and entrepreneurs. Together, we are sowing the seeds of sustainable progress and empowering future generations to thrive beyond the life of the mine. The meeting will start in 5 minutes.
nagsisingil sa dagatang tutok sa simoy at sa langit ang pagaw ay hinatang tula kawin sa pagkayang minamahal ang isang ng matawad ko'y tagumpay na nag-iingin ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magtitingin lupa ng araw ng walhagin pagsingka ko'y langit sa piling mo ang inigaya na pagkay mga amin ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2025 Annual Stockholders Meeting of Semirara Mining and Power Corporation. The Chairman of the Board and Chief Executive Officer, Engineer Isidro A. Consonhi, will now preside over the meeting.
The meeting will now come to order. Good morning. On behalf of the Board of Directors, we welcome our fellow stockholders to our 2025 Annual Stockholders Meeting. Our board members are present in person and are joining us remotely. Mr. Secretary, have the stockholders of the corporation been duly notified of this meeting?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Our record stockholders have been notified of today's meeting. A notice on the date, time, venue, and agenda to the stockholders as of record date March 14, 2025 has been sent following SEC rules, our bylaws, and the guidelines on the requirements and procedures for electronic voting in absentia and participation by remote communication for our 2025 Annual Stockholders Meeting embodied in the definitive information statement approved by the SEC as follows. On March 25, 2025, disclosure to the Philippine Stock Exchange and posted on the corporation's website. On April 7 and 8, 2025, by publication in the business section of the Business World and the Manila Standard, both in print and online.
Mr. Secretary, do you have a quorum for today's meeting?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We have a quorum for today's meeting. As of March 14, 2025, the record date, the corporation has 4,250,547,620 outstanding common shares. Shown on the screen is the number of shares of the corporation's outstanding common shares owned by the stockholders who have registered through our online portal and submitted their proxies and participating remotely or by proxies are present at today's meeting. Mr. Chairman, the stockholders present following their mode of attendance and the percentage of their outstanding common shares held by them will be reflected in the stockholders' minutes of meeting.
Our annual stockholders meeting is being held virtually. Mr. Secretary, please apprise our stockholders of the requirements and procedures for participating and voting in absentia.
Mr. Chairman, the requirements and procedures are outlined in the definitive information statement and the agenda of the notice of the meeting. The following are the highlights as shown on the screen. Stockholders registered to attend and participate in this meeting may send their questions to Corporate Secretary at semirarampc.com. Questions will be addressed after other matters on the agenda are addressed. Other questions will be answered via email. Voting is permitted only for registered stockholders to vote in absentia. The voting portal shall remain open until 5 p.m. for today's meeting. Each proposed resolution for adoption and approval by the stockholders shall be shown and presented during the meeting. Except for the election of directors, all items on the agenda for approval require an affirmative vote of stockholders representing at least the majority of the outstanding voting stock at today's meeting. SGV and the Corporate Secretary are designated as the Board of Canvassers to tabulate and validate the received votes. The Corporate Secretary shall report the results during the meeting. The portal for casting of votes opened last April 21, 2025. I will report on this partial tabulation of votes during the meeting, and the results will be reflected in the stockholders' minutes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this juncture, our chairman of the board will now present his message to our stockholders.
Fellow stockholders, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of the Board of Directors and Management, I would like to welcome you to our 2025 Virtual Annual Stockholders Meeting. The year 2024 presented significant challenges and opportunities for the energy sector. Energy markets continued to normalize following the fluctuations experienced in recent years. A primary factor contributing to this adjustment was the decline in domestic and global selling prices, especially in the coal sector. Locally, energy demand remained robust, fueled by the country's economic growth and rapid urbanization. However, electricity spot prices continued to decline as supply outpaced demand amid a competitive market landscape. While these conditions created pressure on our revenue and margins, our focus on efficiency, operational excellence, and strategic execution enabled us to navigate uncertainties and sustain our growth trajectory. Our strategic investments paid off, and we are pleased to report that our company delivered better than expected results in a year marked by market volatility. Consolidated revenues for the year decreased by 15% from 77 billion pesos to 65 billion pesos. Net income stood at 19.6 billion pesos, reflecting a 30% decline from 27.9 billion pesos last year. However, our net income remains 21% higher than the 16.2 billion pesos reported before the global energy crisis in 2021 and more than double the pre-pandemic 9.6 billion pesos from 2019. While the decline was expected due to softer pricing, it was mitigated by record-breaking coal shipments and all-time high combined gross power generation in 2024. Later, our President, Chief Operating Officer, and Chief Sustainability Officer, Maria Cristina Gutierrez, will present a detailed report on our company's operational results. Despite market challenges, we remain committed to delivering value to our investors and key stakeholders. While earnings per share decreased from 6.57 pesos to 4.62 pesos, we achieved a 33% return on equity, still one of the highest among listed energy peers in the Philippines. We distributed over 25.5 billion pesos in dividends in 2024 at 6 pesos per share. This is equivalent to 91% payout ratio, well above our dividend policy of 20%. Additionally, our dividend yield stood at 18.3%, the highest among Philippine index stocks. Government share from our coal operations reached nearly 6.4 billion pesos in 2024. This brings our total royalty contribution since DMCI's Holdings acquisition in 1997 to about 66.5 billion pesos. Based on the Philippine Government Code, 80% of this amount is earmarked for energization programs, while the remaining 20% will be used for social development initiatives towards local and national economic progress. We are also pleased to share that our host municipality, Kaluya, Antique, transitioned from being the fourth richest municipality in 2022 to topping the list of wealthiest municipalities in 2023, according to the Commission on Audit. This underscores our significant contribution to the local economic development and our positive impact on our host communities. Strong governance framework is the foundation upon which we build trust with our stakeholders. At SMPC, we uphold the highest standards of corporate governance, ensuring transparency, accountability, and responsible management. We received a Gold Award in the Best Basic Materials category at the 2025 Finance Asia's Best Managed Companies poll, a prestigious benchmark that recognizes top-performing companies in Asia. SMPC was honored to receive 4 awards at the 14th Institutional Investor Corporate Awards of 2024, namely, Most Organized Investor Relations, Best Senior Management Investor Relations Support, Most Consistent Dividend Policy, and Most Improved Investor Relations. Our company was also recognized with a 3 Golden Arrow Award at the ACGS Golden Arrow Awards, a prestigious recognition of our unwavering commitment to good corporate governance. SMPC has been a consistent recipient of this award since 2019. As we head into 2025, we stay focused on navigating market pressures while exploring growth opportunities. We are revisiting our options and project studies for St. Rafael Power Generation Corporation, considering the NGCP's recent updates on its 2024 to 2050. We expect that our 10% stake in Cemex Holdings Philippines, which was finalized on December 2, 2024, will open new avenues for growth and synergies. As we reflect on the progress we've made and the challenges we've overcome, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to those who played a key role in our success, our board of directors for their invaluable guidance and leadership, our employees for their passion and hard work, our shareholders, regulators, business partners, host communities, and all stakeholders for their trust and support. Together, we will continue to navigate an ever-changing landscape, seize new opportunities, and contribute meaningfully to the country's energy security and long-term sustainability. We remain confident that our strategic initiatives will drive value creation and sustain growth for years to come. Magandang umaga at maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. The next order of business is the approval of the previous minutes of the meeting held on May 6, 2024. Electronic copies of the said minutes have been posted and are available on the corporation's website. Mr. Secretary, please present the resolution of the minutes of the meeting and the voting results.
Mr. Chairman, management is proposing approval of the following resolution as shown on the screen. Resolved that the stockholders of Semirara Mining and Power Corporation be, as it is hereby approve, confirm, and ratify the minutes of the annual stockholders meeting held last May 6, 2024. As shown on the screen, I am pleased to report that the stockholders voted to approve the annual stockholders minutes of meeting held on May 6, 2024.
Let us move to the next order of business, the presentation and approval of the President's report. Our President, Chief Operating Officer, and Chief Sustainability Officer, Maria Cristina C. Gotianon, will present her report.
To my fellow shareholders, colleagues in the board and management, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to our 2025 Annual Stockholders Meeting. In my previous report, I mentioned that we expected 2024 to be a pivotal period for our company as market prices and demand continue to stabilize. I am pleased to share that despite certain market challenges, we have made considerable progress in both our coal and power businesses. To counter the sharp decline in selling prices and the limited availability of high-grade coal, we harnessed our coal blending expertise, and optimize operational efficiency to meet customer demands and maximize revenue. As a result, we achieved a historic milestone of 16.5 million metric tons in coal shipments in 2024, surpassing last year's all-time high of 15.8 million metric tons. This was primarily driven by robust demand both from China and local market. For the third straight year, we have reached our maximum production capacity of 16 million metric tons, in line with the limits of our current environmental compliance certificate. Coal exports grew by 5% to 8.5 million metric tons, while domestic sales saw a 4% increase, reaching 8 million metric tons. This growth was fueled by increased internal sales and strong demand from cement plants. Turning to our power business, 2024 marks the 15th year since we acquired the Calaca Power Plant from the National Power Corporation in 2009. At the time, SEPC Units 1 and 2 were operating at less than 60% of the rated capacity. However, with our firm belief in the plant's potential, we have worked diligently to improve and expand its capabilities. Today, I am proud to share that our power business has reached a landmark achievement. We set a record for combined gross generation in 2024, reaching over 5,300 gigawatt-hour. This is a 10% upswing from 4,900 gigawatt-hour in 2023, and the highest we have seen in 7 years. Another key highlight was a successful rewinding of our Unit 2 generator last year, restoring its capacity to 300 megawatt. This resulted in a 14% surge in average capacity from 672 megawatt to 764 megawatt. As a result of enhanced plant performance, our power segment's contribution to total revenue grew to 43% from 35% in 2023, which reflects our ongoing commitment to reliable and optimized energy production. Efficient and sustainable operations remain at the core of our strategy to deliver reliable energy responsibly. In 2024, we implemented engineering solutions to enhance efficiency in our operations, which resulted in the following: savings of approximately 220 million pesos, a reduction of 2.5 million liters in startup fuel consumption versus 2023, energy savings exceeding 60,000 megawatt-hour, and carbon footprint reduction by more than 85,000 metric ton of carbon dioxide equivalents. Moreover, our water conservation programs at the power plant reduced average daily water consumption by 60%, an achievement that further reinforces our commitment to sustainable operations. I would also like to highlight our progress in our environmental, social, and governance, or ESG, journey. SMPC's agro-model farm on Semirara Island harvested over 30,000 kilos of fresh produce in 2024, providing livelihood opportunities to 48 farmers and seasonal workers. This initiative contributes to improved food security and reinforces economic independence for our host communities. We donated a solar-powered water system to Barangay Alegria providing over 300 households with dependable access to clean water. For education, 2024 saw the launch of blended tertiary education at our Divine Word School of Semirara Island Incorporated. This provides young people in Semirara Island and nearby islands with access to higher education. In 2024, our TESDA accredited Semirara Training Center Incorporated, or STCI, produced 152 graduates. By offering local training and assessment, residents no longer need to leave the island for certification. Since 2006, STCI has seen over 1,800 alumni who are all guaranteed employment within our company upon course completion. In healthcare, the SMPC Infirmary on Semirara Island was accredited by PhilHealth in 2024, providing locals with access to much-needed government benefits. As part of our commitment to nature-climate stewardship, we are developing an AI tool to enhance marine and terrestrial carbon capture tracking. Initial efforts focus on analyzing forest images to support reforestation initiatives. Near-term plans will include blue carbon initiatives to further advance our marine biodiversity restoration efforts. Anticipating that market prices will continue to normalize this 2025, we remain focused on controlling what we can and effectively managing external factors. We are strengthening our customer network, boosting operational efficiencies, and implementing effective cost management and margin protection strategies. To reduce reliance on a single major market, we are actively expanding our export reach and diversifying into new markets. Exploration at the Acacia mine is ongoing to support the sustainability of our mining operations. Within the second quarter of 2025, our mining operations will begin sourcing power from a 12-megawatt wind farm on Semirara Island. Through this renewable energy offtake, we aim to reduce carbon emissions, decrease diesel dependency, and lower overall power generation costs. For our power segment, we aim to secure contracts for approximately 50% of our 756 megawatt net selling capacity. This strategic move will secure stable revenue while providing flexibility to manage demand fluctuations. To date, we have secured and implemented 267 megawatt of contracted capacity. This brings our total contracted capacity for the quarter to 334 megawatt, representing 42% of our net sellable capacity. As I conclude my report, I would like to express my sincere thanks to our stakeholders, our board of directors, employees, host communities, regulators, and investors. Your unwavering trust and support have been key to our success. Thank you for your commitment to our shared vision. Together, we will continue to support the country's just energy transition and create a more sustainable future for our company and the communities we serve. Isang magandang umaga sa inyong lahat.
Mr. Secretary, please present the proposed resolution in the President's report and the voting results.
Mr. Chairman, management is proposing the following resolution shown on the screen. Resolved that the stockholders of Semirara Mining and Power Corporation be, as it is hereby approve, confirm, and ratify the President's report as presented by the President, Chief Operating Officer, and Chief Sustainability Officer of the Corporation. As shown on the screen, I am pleased to report that the stockholders voted to approve the President's report.
The next order of business is the presentation and approval of the audited financial statements for the year ending December 31, 2024. Mr. Secretary, please present the proposed resolution on this item and the voting results.
Mr. Chairman, electronic copies of the corporation's audited financial statements for 2024 have been posted as part of the definitive information statement and are available on the corporation's website. Mr. Chairman, management proposes the following resolution for approval as shown on the screen. Resolved that the stockholders of Semirara Mining and Power Corporation be, as it is hereby approve, confirm, and ratify the corporation's audited financial statements for the year ended December 31, 2024. As shown on the screen, I am pleased to report that the stockholders voted to approve the corporation's audited financial statements for the year ended December 31, 2024.
The next item is the ratification of the acts of the Board of Directors and Management from the date of the last annual stockholders meeting and up to the date of this meeting. Mr. Corporate Secretary, please explain the matter and present the proposed resolution of this item and the voting results.
Mr. Chairman, our board and management seek approval and ratification of all acts and resolutions of the Board of Directors and various board committees exercising powers delegated by the board adopted from May 6, 2024 until today. These acts and resolutions are reflected in the minutes of meeting of the Board of Directors and of the board committees, including the election of officers and committee membership, corporate governance policies, and all matters covered by disclosures to the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Philippine Stock Exchange. Stockholders' ratification is also being sought for all acts of management and officers perform in accordance with the resolution of the board, various board committees, bylaws, and as part of the corporation's general conduct of business from May 6, 2024 until today. Mr. Chairman, management proposes the following resolution as shown on the screen. Resolved that the stockholders of Semirara Mining and Power Corporation be, as it is hereby approve, confirm, and ratify all the acts, decisions, and resolutions of the Board of Directors, various board committees, and all acts of management since May 6, 2024, and until the date of this meeting. As shown on the screen, I am pleased to report that the stockholders voted to approve, ratify, and confirm all acts and resolutions of the Board of Directors, various board committees, and all actions of management since May 6, 2024, and until the date of this meeting.
The next order of business is the election of the Board of Directors for the year 2025 and 2026.
Mr. Chairman, following the bylaws of the corporation, the Manual of Corporate Governance, and the SEC rules, the names of the following nominees were submitted to the Governance Committee, and each one has accepted and given their consent to their respective nomination. The nominees are nominated as regular directors Isidro A. Consunji, Cesar A. Benaventura, George A. Consunji, Herbert M. Consunji, Maria Cristina C. Gochanon, Maria Edwina C. Laperal, Josefa Consuelo C. Reyes, Antonio Jose U. Perequet Jr. Nominated as independent directors are Roberto L. Panlilio, Francisco A. Dizon, Ferdinand M. de la Cruz. On March 12, 2025, the Governance Committee, in the exercise of its duties, determined that the 11 nominees are qualified to serve as directors of the corporation.
Mr. Secretary, do we have the results of the election of directors?
As shown in the screen, the following directors received the required number of votes to be elected. Accordingly, with the voting results, I certify that each named nominee has obtained sufficient votes to be elected as directors of the corporation. Moreover, the following resolutions are hereby accordingly adopted and approved as shown on the screen. Resolved that the stockholders of Semirara Mining and Power Corporation be, as it is hereby elects the following as directors of the corporation for the ensuing year, to serve as such beginning today until their successors are duly elected and qualified. As regular directors, Isidro A. Consunji, George A. Consunji, Cesar A. Benaventura, Herbert M. Consunji, Maria Cristina C. Gochanon, Maria Edwina C. Laperal, Josefa Consuelo C. Reyes, Antonio Jose U. Perequet Jr. As independent directors, Roberto L. Panlilio, Francisco A. Dizon, Ferdinand M. de la Cruz.
The next order of business is the approval of the appointment of the corporation's independent external auditor.
Mr. Chairman, as approved by the Board of Directors in its February 28, 2025 meeting, the Audit Committee recommends and endorses the appointment of SGV as the corporation's independent external auditor for the current fiscal year 2025. Mr. Chairman, management proposes the following resolution as shown on the screen. Resolved that the stockholders of Semirara Mining and Power Corporation be, as it is hereby approved, confirm, and ratify the appointment of SGV as the independent external auditors of the corporation for the current fiscal year 2025. As shown on the screen, I am pleased to report that the stockholders voted to approve the appointment of SGV as the independent external auditor of the corporation for the current fiscal year 2025.
Mr. Secretary, are there other matters that require the consideration by the stockholders?
There are none, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Secretary, are there other questions or clarifications from the stockholders?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have questions as shown on the screen. For our first question, when do you expect to get clearance from the DNR on the Acacia mine, and when do you expect to start production in that mine?
We expect to receive the ECC for the Acacia mine from the DNR within the second half of 2025. Exploration and pre-stripping activities are currently underway, with production targeted to begin within 2026.
For the next question, are there any updates you could share on the amendment of your coal operating contract?
We are awaiting DOE action and approval. We hope to obtain this within the year.
For the next question, in the power segment, how are spot prices so far, and how does the price compare with the previous year?
The average spot price for Q1 2025 is over 20% lower than the same period last year. This is due to La Niña this year compared to El Niño last year and the extra capacity added in late 2024.
Mr. Secretary, are there other questions?
There are no other questions, Mr. Chairman.
There being none, we will now adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much to our stockholders for attending. Stay safe, everyone.
To view this recorded webcast, go to the links on your screen. For questions, clarifications, and concerns regarding our ASM, please email us at corporatesecretary@semirarampc.com. Thank you and good morning.